Eorzea, a land loved by the gods and forged by heroes. A saying known to many, and the 12 are the gods described there within. Their belief has been one staunchly relied on by her peoples for thousands of years, even unto the third astral era and the time of Althyk. A panoply of 12 beings from which the people draw strength, as well as an understanding of a confusing and tumultuous existence. Current days may have brought with them much in the way of our comprehension of the natural and ethereal world, but still, their religion remains. Whether one is a believer in these deities as written in story, or dismisses them as merely misremembered heroes of Eld, it should serve all to have a working knowledge of these cultural and devotional beings. To explain the 12, one should identify each of their associations. In this endeavor, we shall describe and order each of them not by age or hierarchy, but into their associated elements. Each of the 6 elements having 2 gods, and each god possessing a title befitting their disposition and role. Oshan, the Wanderer, a god of wind, mountain, and vagrance. His symbol is that of the walking stick. Misfortunate lover of Menfina, and most commonly depicted as a carefree ranger wielding a bow of yew wood. As a sentinel of wanderers, often travelers can be found carrying bags of finger bones, blessed by priests of Oshan for luck. As the patron deity of Nim, structures such as the Wanderer's Palace host his name in honor. The similarities between his description as a deity of mountains and the kobolds' worship of their own mountain of Ogomoro as a god served to help facilitate peaceful relations between them and the Nimians. Limlane, the Navigator, a goddess of wind, navigation, and watcher of the seas. Daughter of Althyk and Azima, sister of Nafika. She is known in the guise of a strong fisherwoman, wielding a long-bladed harpoon, and her symbol is that of the sea's wave. As patron deity to Limsa Laminsa, she is worshipped by those who journey the waters of the world, and often cries to the navigator can be heard by those adrift and at storm. Ralgur, the Breaker of Worlds, destruction incarnate and commander of lightning, represented as a bearded magi with a bronze staff. His parallels to the likes of Ramu of the Sylph are notable. He is a guardian deity of Alamigo, and great works of stone, such as the Fist of Ralgur, exist in his honor. In the wake of their mad king and the Garlean occupation, his believers have been made to suffer. So strong is his faith, however, that the very flowers of Girabanya carry his name. Forged from a comet, he is foster father and teacher to Halone and her brother Byregot, and his symbol is that of a streaking meteor. Byregot the Builder is god of industry, architecture, and the arts. His is the element of lightning, pictured most often as an ardent smith with a 2-headed hammer. His symbol is that of a hand, palm open. His sister is Halone, and his chosen teacher is Althyk. Those artists of the realm pray to him for inspiration and steady hand. Azima, the Warden, a goddess of fire, sun, and inquiry. Her symbol is that of the sun, and most often is she depicted as a lady of nobility, holding a golden fan, a figure so striking that even roses and fireworks bear her name. Lover of Althyk, and mother of the sisters Limlane and Nafika. Keeper of the Sun Mikote are named so for their worship of her, and the last major civilization to hold her as their patron was that of the desert city of Beladia. Even its sunken temple of Karn was once a place of devotion to her. Naldthal, the Traders, are unique amongst the 12, being of dual spirit or aspect. A god of life, the underworld, and commerce. His is the element of fire, a single manifestation of deific twins and rulers of their own realms, Nald of the living and Thal of the underworld. He is known most often as a merchant holding a balance when as one, and when alone, Each are depicted as holding an amphora and dagger, respectively. Brought forth by Oshan, he is the patron deity of Ul'dah. The Order of Nald Thal is one of the most well-known sects of 12 worship, and through their control of the faith, hold much sway over commerce and death through funeral rites. His symbol is that of a cowrie shell, a currency of ancient times. Althyk, the Keeper, is the first of the 12 and god of time and space, surveyor of change and causality. His symbol is that of an hourglass. His element is earth, and his name is found in the lavender of Thanalin. His lover is Nymea, and his visage is that of an austere emperor wielding a mithril great axe. Nafka, the matron, goddess of harvest and abundance, and tender of soil. Her element is that of earth. She is the daughter of Azima and Thalyak, and sister to Limlane. Known as a jubilant farmer and buxom maiden, she holds a scythe of steel, and her symbol is that of a spring leaf. She is the guardian and patron of Gridania, and exists in co-relationship and appreciation with the communion of the elementals. Halone, the Fury, goddess of war, mover of glaciers, and commanding the element of ice. Her visage is that of a relentless warrioress, armed with a bronze great shield, and her symbol is that of 3 spears. Foster daughter of Rhalgr and bitter rival to Nafka, her status as a guardian deity of Ishgard is fitting. Its orthodoxy church and very way of life was constructed around her veneration. It is said that sapphires allow one to catch glimpses of her halls, and the gerbera flowers are said to carry her favor. Menfina the Lover, goddess of love and commanding the element of ice. Menfina is the keeper of the twin moons, the greater white moon and the lesser red moon, Dalamud. Sister of Azima and ill-fated lover of Oshan. Her symbol is that of the full moon, and she is most often seen as a maid carrying a round skillet. It is said she is followed by her loyal hound Dalamud, though in the years following the calamity, more often it is cursed as her bastard hound. She, like Azima to the Seekers of the Sun, is the subject of core worship to the Keepers of the Moon Mikote, and for which they hunt by night, so they may bask in her presence. Nymea, the spinner goddess of fate, and watcher of celestial bodies. Hers is the element of water, lover of Althyk, and creator of Rhalgr. The lilies of Eorzea that bear her name are often used as a symbol of mourning and peace for the dead. She is known as a weaver in silken veil, and her symbol is that of the spinning wheel. Her observation of the stars makes her a symbol of kinship amongst astrologians. Thalyak, the Scholar, god of knowledge and wisdom. As his element is that of water, so is he master of rivers. Thalyak is seen as a reserved scholar holding an ashen staff, and his symbol is that of the scroll. Patron of Sharlayan, his domain over knowledge serves as a powerful symbol, despite Sharlayan's more tepid fervor for the faith of the 12. Lover of Azima, father of sisters Limlane and Nafka, and teacher to Byregot. The powerful artifact Tup Samadhi bears stones carved with his symbol, and his statue stands tall over the city of Sharlayan, acting as both literal and figurative fountain for both water and knowledge. Part and parcel to their corresponding elements and associations are the moons of the calendar they represent and the realms in which each of the 12 reside. In a cycle, starting with Halone as the first and Althyk as the 12th, each of the 12 moons in the Eorzean year are assigned a member of the 12. And in like are there 7 astrally aligned heavens and umbrally aligned hells, crafted after their work on Eorzea was done. Of the first 6 heaven and hells, each has a corresponding element, with the final 7th ruling over the others. The 6 elemental heavens can be found represented in the night sky, in the stars of constellations, the very same constellations by which astrologians manipulate the aether of the heavens, all of which revolve around a pole star, believed to be the gate to the final seventh heaven. In the heaven of fire sprawls an endless city built by Nald Thal from golden bricks seared in the heat of Azima's sun. There reside the just and the fair, the honest and the philanthropic. Its mirror is the hell of fire, formed when the rubble left after the creation of its heavenly counterpart was cast from the firmament into the dark pit and set alight. Here burn those who wrongly judged their peers, those who tricked their customers, and those who gave and received bribes. To create the heaven of earth, Nafika planted a single sapling, which Althyk, bending time itself, coaxed to maturity. Under the mighty sentinel's boughs rest farmers, naturalists, historians, and archaeologists. However, the leaves fallen from the tree are left to rot in the pit, creating the hell of earth, where lying buried deep in the earth suffer thieves, despoilers of nature, liars, and revisionists. In the heaven of wind rises a towering mountain range, atop which Ocean looks out in longing upon the endless sea ruled by Limlane. Here rests explorers and adventurers, wayfarers, saints, and those who save the helpless. Tearing gusts from on high incite terrible tempests, creating the hell of wind, a place where bandits, defilers of the land and sea, and pirates agonize as the air tears flesh from bone and soul from flesh. In order to create the river which runs through the heaven of water, Nymea melted a star, to which Thalyak added the essence of knowledge, and then poured it forth from his ewer. Here reside the scholars and inventors, teachers and entrepreneurs. From the bed of that celestial river did forsaken droplets rail to the pit, where they settled and stagnated, creating the hell of water. Here, drowning in its foul waters, are the deceivers, counterfeiters, charlatans, and false prophets. In the heaven of lightning, one will find a towering clockwork spire, built by Byregot with metal forged from a comet, and powered by Rhalgr's 11 bolts. Here, rest easy engineers, architects, revolutionaries, and vanquishers of evil. 11 charged fragments of the comet plummet to the pit below to form the hell of lightning, a place of tumultuous, static damnation for vandals, slumlords, and warmongers. And finally, the heaven of ice. In the center of this heaven rises a lofty palace of ice, made of frozen moonbeams and carved with the Fury's own spear. Here reside epic heroes and gallant knights, the benevolent and faithful. From Halone's gelid palace do piercing icicles plummet to the pit, creating the hell of ice. Frozen in tormented agony and suffering Halone's fury, here suffer cowards, deserters, and the adulterous. And so finally, we must come to the most recent history, and the events of Carteneau. The Archon, Louisoix Levieur of Charlayan, in an attempt to save Eorzea from the fall of Dalamud, stoked the flames of hope and faith in the 12, creating stones of their signs and spreading impassioned words of belief and hope throughout Eorzea. Unknown to most, this was so at the appointed hour he might bring forth a primal of the 12, to bind the threat and save the realm from a calamity. Though the binding was a failure, the primal lingered for a small time, and after using magics of Althyk to save some few adventurers from the battlefield, what transpired next is a mystery, save for a few. What is a god on Hydaelyn? What does it mean for a deity to exist in the face of primals and the Mother Crystal? Are such beings merely the fanciful tales and misrecollections of past peoples and events? Or perhaps truly something divine in nature? Are locales such as the heavens and the pit tied to more material things, such as stars and the void? And why does some imagery spark correlation, such as the Tower of Byregot and its power drawn of a comet, reminiscent of the Crystal Tower of Allag? A slew of questions accost the mind of any who ponder, but no more so than in regards to the 12. In any event, the annals of history brim with their presence, and likely so will the future pages when written. Perhaps with vigil, study, and perchance with faith, one day we will have the answers we seek.
This content was brought to you by the Eorzean Archives. I'm Archon Charette Tia.
And I'm Archon Elio Faucheron. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below any topics you might also be interested in.